Miguel was only 12, but life had already taught him the weight of hardship. Growing up in the crowded streets of Manila, he spent most days weaving through traffic, selling small bags of peanuts or helping his mother carry baskets to the market. His clothes were faded and patched, and the soles of his feet were calloused from walking barefoot on hot pavement. Yet, beneath all the struggles, Miguel carried a dream too big for the small corners of his neighborhood. That night, he stood backstage at one of the world's biggest talent shows. The glaring lights felt like they could swallow him whole, but his heart beat with something stronger than fear. It wasn't just about winning, it was about proving to himself and the world that he mattered, that his voice could rise above the noise of poverty and be heard. The host called his name, and Miguel stepped forward. The crowd went quiet, almost as if the world paused to listen. His rough, small hands gripped the microphone tightly, the same hands that had spent years exchanging goods for coins on the streets. In that moment, all the long days, all the empty nights, and all the whispered prayers seemed to converge into a single spark of hope in his eyes. For Miguel, this wasn't just a performance, it was a chance to change his life. The stage, the lights, the crowd, none of it scared him. He was ready. Ready to sing his truth to the world. Miguel took a deep breath, the microphone feeling heavy yet strangely familiar in his hands. The first gentle strum of the guitar filled the room, and he began to sing Hotel California. His voice was soft at first, almost shy, but with every note it grew stronger, clearer, pure and unshakable. The audience leaned forward, surprised by the depth in his tone. It wasn't the voice of a typical 12-year-old, it carried weight, pain, and beauty all at once. Each lyric seemed to tell a piece of his own story. Lonely nights on the streets, quiet moments by his mother's bedside, dreams whispered into the darkness. The judges exchanged glances, their usual composure slipping. They weren't just hearing a song, they were hearing a life poured into melody. Miguel's small frame seemed to disappear under the spotlight, replaced by something far bigger, an artist, a storyteller, a survivor. Somewhere in the middle of the song, his voice cracked. Not from nerves, but from a rush of emotion that even he couldn't control. He saw his mother's tired smile in his mind, remembered the times he sang to her when she was too sick to move. That memory lived in every note he sang. The theater had fallen completely silent now, not out of politeness, but because everyone was captivated. Miguel wasn't just performing, he was reaching into the hearts of strangers and making them feel his story without a single word spoken outside the song. As Miguel reached the middle of the song, the emotion in his voice deepened, almost as if every word carried the weight of his past. His eyes glistened under the stage lights, but he didn't blink them away. The crack in his voice wasn't a mistake, it was honesty. He thought of the nights he sang to comfort his mother when her illness made it hard for her to sleep. The dim candlelight in their small home, the sound of rain dripping through the roof, and her frail smile as she listened, those moments lived inside this performance. Each lyric became a bridge between that memory and the thousands of strangers watching him now. The crowd sat in complete stillness. You could hear the faint hum of the stage equipment, but not a single cough, shuffle, or whisper. It wasn't just a song anymore, it was a confession, a prayer, a piece of his soul laid bare for all to witness. One of the judges, a woman known for her strict critiques, found her eyes welling with tears. She pressed a hand over her mouth, trying to keep her emotions in check. The others looked at each other, silently acknowledging they were witnessing something rare. For Miguel, the world outside the stage didn't exist in that moment. There were no street corners, no hunger, no long days under the sun. There was only the music, the memory of his mother's gentle voice, and the unshakable hope that this song could change everything. Miguel's voice soared into the final verse, each note stronger, braver, more certain than the last. The song built like a wave, carrying the audience with him, and when he hit the last, powerful line, the entire room seemed to exhale at once. For a split second, there was silence, a stunned, breathless pause, before the crowd erupted into cheers. One judge leaned forward, her eyes shining, and without hesitation, slammed the golden buzzer. The sound of the buzzer rang out like thunder, and in an instant, gold confetti exploded from above, raining down in shimmering bursts. Miguel's eyes widened, his hands flying to his mouth. It didn't feel real. For years, he had sung for coins tossed into a paper cup, his voice barely noticed. Now, the same voice was being celebrated by thousands. The judges rose to their feet, clapping and smiling through their tears. The woman who pressed the buzzer pointed at him and said, her voice trembling, "You're not just a singer, you're a gift." Miguel stood frozen, the gold flakes clinging to his hair and shirt, his heart pounding so loud he could barely hear the applause. For the first time in his life, the world wasn't hurrying past him, it had stopped to listen, to see him, to believe in him. In that shower of gold, Miguel felt something he had never truly known before, the certainty that his life had just changed forever. Backstage, Miguel stepped off the stage still clutching the microphone, his small hands trembling. The gold confetti clung stubbornly to his hair and shirt, as if it refused to leave him, just like this moment would stay with him forever. The judges came to meet him, one by one, offering hugs and words he had never imagined hearing. "You have a gift," one said, placing a hand on his shoulder. "And we're going to make sure the whole world hears it." A producer handed him a phone. On the other end, his mother's voice cracked with pride and joy. She had watched it all live from their little home in Manila. Miguel could hear her crying, and for a moment, he forgot about the cameras and the noise. He was just her son, the boy who used to sing to keep her strong. The promises came quickly, a trip for his family to join him, a scholarship, music lessons, and the chance to record his first song. Each word felt like a key unlocking doors he never thought he'd see. Miguel smiled through his tears, realizing this wasn't just his victory, it was his mother's, his family's, and maybe even the victory of every child who had been overlooked. He looked back toward the stage, the faint sound of cheering still echoing. For the first time, he didn't just feel like a boy from the streets, he felt like someone who could change his own story. And maybe, in doing so, inspire the world.